Welcome back to Creepshow, where we explore the dark and disturbing corners of true crime. For many of us, dining out at a restaurant is a delightful treat, a chance to unwind and enjoy good company. But what happens when a place of joy turns into a scene of horror? Today, we're delving into 10 of the most chilling restaurant massacres that left a permanent mark on history. From quiet suburban towns to bustling cities, these horrific events are a stark reminder of the unexpected dangers that can lurk in the most ordinary places. Let's uncover the terrifying details behind these shocking crimes. Number 10. Brown's Chicken and Pasta. 7 innocent lives were taken 28 years ago in Palatine, Illinois, on a chilly January evening when gunshots were heard. Richard and Lynn Ehlenfeldt, the restaurant's proprietors, and Guadalupe Maldonado, Michael C. Castro, Rico L. Solis, Thomas Menace, and Marcus Nielsen, 5 of their staff members. On January 8, 1993, as they were about to close the restaurant, 2 men came in and placed an order for a 4-piece lunch. The men finished most of it and threw the leftovers in the garbage. This would eventually result in their apprehension, but not before 9 years had gone by. One of the murderer's ex-girlfriend came forward in 2002 and informed authorities that the killings had been carried out by her ex-boyfriend James Degorski and his companion Juan Luna. Investigators had gathered and frozen the chicken that the couple had thrown away almost a decade prior. The bird had now thawed, and saliva samples from it matched Juan Luna. After almost 10 years, the victims' families were finally granted justice for their loved ones' deaths, when Luna and Degorski were given life sentences without the chance of release in 2007 and 2009, respectively. Number 9. Burger Chef Restaurant. 4 employees of the Burger Chef in Speedway, Indiana, vanished out of nowhere on November 17, 1978. Jane Freet, Ruth Ellen Shelton, Daniel Davis, and Mark Flemons made up the quartet. Unfortunately, Flemons wasn't even meant to be at work that evening. Police saw that the restaurant's safe was empty after the group was reported missing, and they immediately came to the conclusion that the staff members had robbed the establishment while high on drugs. But 2 days later, the corpses of all 4 workers were discovered. The many methods the killers had used to kill the teenagers left police perplexed. A .38 caliber revolver was used to shoot Shelton and Davis several times, but Flemons was killed by being tortured with a chain and eventually choked on his own blood. But Freet may have had the most horrific end of all, as the knife was stabbed so hard inside her chest that the blade snapped off. Regretfully, over 40 years have elapsed since the Burger Chef killings, and the identity of the person responsible for the horrible acts remains a mystery. Number 8. Taco Bell, Irving, Texas. On January 26, 1991, 2 shooters stood by outside a Taco Bell in Irving, Texas, with the intention of robbing it. This was another January robbery gone horribly wrong. The 2 men pushed their way in, waiting for a worker to open the door so they could remove the trash. Teresa Fraga, her cousin Frank Fraga, Michael J. Phelan, and son Trang Nguyen were coerced inside the restaurant's walk-in freezer by teenagers Jesse San Miguel, 19, and Jerome Green, 17. San Miguel told the police that he had originally intended to leave the employees alive, but had since altered his mind. He went back inside the freezer and is said to have begged the 4 victims to give him a good reason why he shouldn't kill them, before shooting each of them 3 times in the head at close range. Following his arrest many hours after the killings, San Miguel was found guilty of the murders and given the capital penalty. On June 29, 2000, he was killed by lethal injection. Green, a part-time employee of the eatery, received a 50-year prison sentence and was set to be released in 2004. Teresa Fraga was pregnant when she passed away. Therefore, even though San Miguel's official death toll was 4, many people believe it was 5. Number 7. El Memo, Jalisco, Mexico. Without giving away their apparent reason, a group of armed gunmen mercilessly opened fire on a tiny eatery in Jalisco, Mexico, on May 10, 2021. As they sat at tables in front of El Memo's enormous bay window in the early afternoon, the victims, 3 adults and 2 children, were shot and killed. Unfortunately, the shooting went mostly unnoticed, because it occurred soon after the kidnapping and triple homicide of 3 siblings from a well-known Jalisco family. 2 further murders occurred in Jalisco in a single weekend, in addition to the El Memo killings and the Gonzalez siblings' deaths. As of this writing, no one has been charged with the deaths of the unidentified 5, despite the fact that police have declared that the El Memo murders were cartel-related. There are internet images of the crime scene, but caution is strongly suggested. Number 6. Wendy's Flushing, Queens. The Wendy's murders in Flushing, Queens on May 24, 2000 are included in the second wave of restaurant killings in May. The staff was taken aback when their boss told them to report to her office shortly before the restaurant closed. But when they went into their manager Jean Auguste's office, she was accompanied by a friend of Taylor's, 30, a former colleague who was 36, and he carried a revolver. Similar to the Taco Bell murders, the 2 thieves chained and gagged all 7 employees before forcing them into the restaurant's walk-in freezer and killing them one by one. 5 of the 7 workers perished: Jean Auguste, Jeremy Mele, Ali Ibadat, Anita Smith, and Ramon Nazario. Although the other 2 workers had suffered serious injuries, one employee, who had only begun working at the restaurant 2 weeks prior, was able to grab the other survivor and pull them both out of the freezer before phoning for assistance. Taylor was originally given a death sentence, but in 2007 that was reduced to life in prison. Godno received a life sentence for his mental health issues. Number 5. Pizza Hut, Mount Pleasant, Texas. This subsequent entry also happened in May. For the pitiful sum of $100, 3 Pizza Hut employees were brutally killed on May 10, 1982. 2 brothers, Calvin Lloyd Paget and Max Bear Daughtry, approached the restaurant demanding money as Howard McLaughlin, Shirley Thompson, and George Dwayne Landrum were cleaning it up after closure. The guys killed themselves by stabbing, beating, and shooting McLaughlin, Landrum, and Thompson. When Thompson's husband arrived to the restaurant and noticed the cash register was empty, he alerted the police. Later, their remains were discovered in the business's storage room. Although it doesn't bring the dead back, both brothers were found guilty of the killings. For killing Landrum, Daughtry was given a 30-year prison term, while Paget was given 2 life terms. Number 4. I Can't Believe It's Yogurt. The 4 girls who were murdered in Austin, Texas, are still unsolved mysteries in the area known as the Yogurt Shop murders. Eliza Thomas, Amy Ayers, and the twins Jennifer and Sarah Harbison were among the 4 girls who were slain inside the store on December 6, 1991, by unidentified assailants. Jennifer's sister Sarah and her friend Amy met Eliza and Jennifer at the shop after they had finished their shift, with plans to hang out later that evening. Rather, not long after the last sale was completed, 2 men broke into the store and dragged the girls into the restaurant's back, where they were cuffed and gagged with their own clothing, shot in the head, and then set ablaze. Regretfully, most of the evidence was destroyed before the girls' bodies were discovered, since the first 911 call was for a reported fire, not actually a fire. 30-plus years have gone by without a conviction in the Yogurt Shop murders case. Number 3. 8 Immortals Restaurant. 10 Zheng family members were killed on August 4, 1985 in Macau, which was a Portuguese territory until 1999 and is now a special administrative area of China. Zheng Lin, the patriarch, owned the 8 Immortals restaurant and was also a gambler. Zheng realized he could not afford to pay Huang Jiheng, the soon-to-be killer, 180,000 yuan, so the two agreed that if Zheng did not pay the bill within a year, Zheng would have to give up his restaurant. Jiheng became upset and went to the 8 Immortals restaurant, demanding money and the restaurant from Zheng after a year without receiving any money or title from Zheng. 9 Zheng family members were inside cleaning at the time. The events that ensued were akin to something from a horror film. Jiheng caused the remaining 8 individuals to bind and gag one another after shattering a bottle and placing its sharp edge on Zheng's son's throat. Jiheng started an all-out carnage until one of them screamed and fled for the door. Jiheng sank the broken bottle into her neck. Jiheng killed the other family members by stabbing or strangling them. He then killed the 10th family member after luring her into the eatery. Jiheng hacked the Zheng family members' bodies for 8 hours before throwing the pieces in the sea or garbage. Remarkably, Jiheng managed to escape punishment for more than a year while simultaneously running Zheng's eatery. But when body pieces started washing up on the beach, Jiheng's perfect crime quickly came apart, and he later admitted to killing all 10 of the Zheng family members. After being found guilty in 1986, Jiheng took his own life shortly after. Number 2. San Ysidro McDonald's. On July 18, 1984, a man by the name of James Huberty went on a 77-minute rampage in a San Ysidro, California McDonald's, killing 21 people. Huberty had been acting more and more erratically in the days before the slaughter, telling his wife he was going hunting for humans just before he opened fire. Near the Mexican border was the McDonald's Huberty selected, and on that July day, 45 customers from both nations stopped by for a Big Mac and a cool soda. These folks were unaware, though, that a deranged madman carrying 3 separate guns would shortly enter the building and open fire on them, lasting over an hour and a half. Before starting to methodically shoot and kill patrons who were cowering behind tables and frantically attempting to shove themselves as far beneath as they could, Huberty entered the restaurant and shot and killed the manager, a 22-year-old. The massacre's specifics are nearly incomprehensible, and Huberty's terrible lack of regard for human life is evident. What was worse was that Huberty was able to carry out his rampage for an extended period of time because police responded to the incorrect McDonald's after receiving a 911 dispatch about shots fired. Huberty ultimately committed suicide after murdering 21 people, ranging in age from 8 months to 74. Number 1. Luby's Cafeteria. The shooting in Killeen, Texas's Luby's Cafeteria on October 16, 1991, would have to be included for this list to be complete. On that particular day, a man by the name of George Hennard crashed his truck through the storefront window as about 150 customers were dining there. Then, after getting out of the truck with 2 handguns, Hennard started killing customers one by one. Reportedly, Hennard approached a victim who was attempting to run away from him and shot her in the spot. Hennard allegedly yelled and screamed while shooting more than 10 people in the head. Before killing them, he allegedly made cruel remarks to his victims. Strangely, before Hennard resumed his rampage, he let a mother and her infant leave the restaurant. There were 27 injured and 23 dead by the time the cops arrived. Hennard, in typical cowardly form, shot himself 3 times by the police after refusing to give up and threatening to kill as many people as possible. But Hennard shot himself before the cops could catch him, and he died from that wound. The ages of Hennard's victims varied from 29 to 75. Thank you for joining us on this unsettling journey through some of the most horrifying restaurant massacres in history. If you found this video intriguing, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Creepshow for more deep dives into true crime and the macabre. Let us know in the comments which story shocked you the most, and if there are any other topics you'd like us to cover. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and until next time, keep the lights on and stay away from the shadows.